Vaksavre, and today I'm going to tell you uh, the information about Frappe framework, then how to make an custom app, then some methods from the Frappe, how to utilize the Frappe methods to make a feature, and many things about the Frappe framework. So let's we talk about some.
Okay, so let's share the screen. I hope everybody in the room is able to see Rohit's screen, and please also mention if you are able to hear him fine. If you are facing any difficulty, then please post your message in the chat section.
All right. So Frappe framework is a full stack web framework, which is basically built on Python and the JavaScript, and it is useful to make a good feature, good good application, web application. And let's see how Frappe framework is different from the other framework. So So if you just see any MIS application which is a very costly in terms, and if you compare the cost of Frappe framework, it is less than to the any web application. So what Frappe framework provides you? Frappe framework has a responsive UI which can be visible on any devices. So it has a very clean and a responsive UI. Also, you can easily configure the models. You can put up fields with the help of doc types, and this is available in the Frappe framework. Even though these fields, you can see these fields on the form. So with the help of with the help of doc type, you can generate a forms very easily in the Frappe framework. And also, you can apply the roles permission on the doc types, and it is easy to configurable. So you need to only make a roles and give the permission, like whether you have to give read access, write access, creation and deletion access to particular roles or not. Then also some good feature, like you can put a link field in the doc type, which is used to connect two documents. So basically, we need in the future sometimes we require to connect two doc types. So for that, link field is available in the Frappe framework, which helps to connect two documents easily. What else? So we have a email functionality. So if you open any document and if you want to send email, you can easily email with the I mean that email functionality inbuilt, it's inbuilt in the Frappe framework. You don't need to configure. I mean, you don't need to write a separate code for to make this email functionality. It is by default available in the framework. Also, if you just open any document, you can take a print of that. So the print document is okay, volume is low, not able to listen. Hello, now, hello, can you hear us? Hello, hello. All right. So Let me continue now. Print, yeah. So you can easily print any document. The print functionality is available in the Frappe framework. So all the fields on the form you can easily print, and it has a responsive UI as well. So, and there are few more functionality, like you can tag any document, or you can assign that document to the user, or you can comment on any document, or you can attach the files. So all these features you get easily with the help of Frappe framework. And I think you don't need to write a separate code for it. It is basically available in the system. So, and also, some users are not able to hear. Can you hear now? Hello. All right. So far we have seen how Frappe framework is different than the other framework, and what is the basic functionality is available in the Frappe framework. So you don't need. You can easily make a feature with the help of Frappe framework. So let's we make a new app and see how we can easily create a application on the Frappe framework. So I have already have a bench. Basically, uh, bench is useful is used to monitor the applications which are available in the Frappe. So we have already installed the bench and the Frappe app. So let's So let's go to the apps list. So you can see there is only one app, Frappe. So let's make a new app. Um, it just for an example, I took a application called pathology management. In pathology management, we are going to make two to three doc types, like patient, then patient sample, and the patient test report. And I'll show you some features, feature with the help of coding. We'll make some feature, and then we'll take Q&A round, uh,
Question answer.
question and answer round. And all right, so hello. Still audio is poor. Can you hear me? Hello. All right. Sometimes audio and video is low. Okay, so I'm making a new app. So if you just if you just run the command bench hyphen hyphen help, you get the list of bench commands which are already available, which are built in the Frappe framework itself. So with the help of this command, so here is one command, bench new app. So with the help of this command, we will going to make a new application. And you can also, if you want to explore the bench commands, you can also type bench new app hyphen hyphen help. So it explains you how to use this app, how to use this command. So like bench new app name, so let's say pathology management. All right. So system has taken the name pathology management. It has converted app title default as a pathology management. You can, if you want to keep some other name, you can also type or you can enter. Then app description, let's say pathology management. Then app publisher, Frappe Technology. You can enter the name of your company. Then app email, just to, and it has already a default icon and the default color. So just enter. So so we have created a app pathology management. Now we need, hello. Okay. So basically, any application requires a database. So we need to make a new database, and Frappe framework supports multi-tenant. So multi-tenant means a single code which handles the multiple databases. So we can generate a multiple database with the help of a new site. So I'm going to make a new site. To make a new site, you have to run bench new site and the site name. So let's say webinar, and then you have to enter the root password of a MySQL. So basically, I have created a new database with the help of bench itself. Bench new site webinar Frappe generates a new database, and it has a default schema, some default tables like user details and the roles and permission. All these tables comes when you run the bench new site webinar, when you create a new site. So all these sites has created under the cd sites uh, folder. If you just go to the if you just go to the sites folder, you can see the respective sites data, and the site has some information like private files, public files, and site config.json. Under site config.json, you will get the name of database and the password. So we have created a database. Now we are going to install our app pathology management in the database webinar Frappe. So to install the app, we have a command bench install app. Oh, you need to define the site name as well. So you have to put bench hyphen hyphen site name, install app, and the name of app. Okay. So pathology management app has been installed in the webinar Frappe site. Let's start the application. So to start the application, you have to run the command bench start. Okay, I'm getting one error that the module name. Okay, I'm actually getting an error because the package is not available. So give me a minute. I just install this package.
So we received an error due to some reason we're not able to do a bench start, and now we are debugging it.
All right. Due to some issue, we are not able to start the application. But anyway, I have another setup where I already installed this pathology management app. So let's open the. So basically, I run the command base start.
How do you set the URL? Just give a brief on this. Where exactly? etc host.
So pathology management, I have already installed in the new in the separate account where I have already created few doc types. You just see a patient, some patient report, patient sample, and the test. So uh, let's create a sample doc type so you'll get the understand. I mean you understand how to make a doc type and how to make a roles and permission. So to make a doc type, you need to before making a doc type, you have to create a roles. So I have just created a few roles like laboratorian, receptionist, pathologist. You can make a new role like patient as well. So you can see a patient. And to make a doc type, you have to first enable your developer mode for the current site. So to enable the developer mode, you need to run the command bench set config developer underscore mode 1. So this command helps to set the developer mode as a 1 in your site config.json file. You can just see here developer mode is enabled. Now you can create a doc type. So I have a patient test sample, then just so let's make a new doc type called as a
Test.
patient, the laboratory or the hospital or a doctor. Let's say doctor. Yeah, we need to make a doctor. we have a patient but we don't have a doctor master. So let's make a doctor master. So doctor master requires doctor name. Yeah, so here is some types you can keep data. If you have any integer value, then integer value field, then you select the integer. Or if you have any date time field, if you want to set the date, then you have a two field, date and date time. So let's take a data as a field type. Then doctor contact number, then email id, gender. So gender is basically you can keep the field type as a select, and in the option you can give the male and female. So you can put your choices under options. Then specialist, you can also keep it as a select, like uh, yeah. If you want to keep blank, just enter blank. Will do. And so basically pathology management is an app, and in this model where you want to under which section you want to show this doc type. So for that you have to select the section like document setup, or so let's say setup. Then there is one more option, custom. So basically after making this doc type, against each doc type there is one py, and there is some py, js and json files against this doc type. And these files used to basically these files converts the data into the database. So to mapping we need to uncheck this custom, and if it is a custom, then system doesn't make a py, json, json file of this doc type. Then autonym, you can keep it. I mean, if you want to save this record by the doctor name, you can enter the name, this name under the autonym. So for that, you have to enter doctor underscore name. Then you can enter the title field. Alright. So we'll take questions Q&A round after the completion of all the functionality. Right. So then title field, we can keep the title field as the doctor name. Then role. So who will going to create this role? So let's say receptionist. So receptionist has a permission to make the record of this doctor. So doctor has created. So if you just go to the pathology management, okay, you need to reload the page. So under setup, you can see the doctor, and you can again we have introduced a feature called a quick entry. So all the mandatory fields you can see on the model. So let's say I'll make a doctor name as a mandatory as well, email ID. So after save, so you can see these two fields in the model. So basically, to make a fast entry, this feature has been launched. So basically, we have seen how to make a doc type, how to make a roles, and how to assign the roles and permission to the doc type. Now,
One doctor and then Q&A.
so let's add one doctor. Let's say, and the email ID at test.com. So we can see the Rahul as a doctor. So,
Okay, so let's go for first round of Q&A. If you have any queries, please feel free to post it in the chat section. Else you can also unmute yourself and share your query with us. So I think we already have one query.
any change to have? Now you can set the autonym by using your field as well. So like I have used the doctor underscore name. So similarly, you can set any field on the form as autonym.
Also, you can add one more field called naming series, and in that field you can define multiple prefixes. So based on the value you select in the naming series field, the document ID will be generated for that doc type. So I hope that answers your query.
All right. So let's see the basic events of a server side as well as JS side. So I have created a doc type before patient, and I have added some validation for this form. So as I said earlier that whenever you save any doc type, a JS and the py file has been generated in the backend. So if you just see the structure under apps, you need to go to the particular apps like pathology management. In the pathology management, you have to go to the pathology management. Pathology management is again a model. So, and you can again, so doc type, you need to go to the doc type, then go to the, so you can see here doctor, patient, patient report, patient sample. All these doc types file has been already generated, and you can just go to the patient. Under patient, you can see the patient.js file, patient.py file, patient.json file. Patient.json file has all the fields which we see on the form, and these fields are also available in the database. And if you want to validate, write any functionality, you have to write in under the .js and the py file. So let's see how the basic events are available for the which provides, I mean, Frappe framework provides. So there is first event called as the validate. Basically, validate calls before the insert, I mean before data insert into the database. So if I want to put some validation before my data has to be commit, I have to write under the validate method. So I have added I have written a code validate underscore email underscore add. This actually I have imported this method from the frappe.util. So already there is a method which validate the email address. So let's say I enter the patient name as a Aditya and email ID as something XYZ and the mobile number. And if I am trying to save, then system throws me an error that this is not an valid email ID. So I have to enter the email ID right. And you can see my data, I mean my record has not been generated because I got an error. So you have to enter the email ID. I mean I have to enter the email ID correct. Now you can see my record has generated. So if you want to put any validation, you need to write a code under validate method. So you have to just enter def, then space validate cell, and under that you need to write your code. Okay. So again, there is some more events are there like def on update. So basically, on update is call after the commitment after the data has committed into the database. If you want to make any functionality, like if you want to update the data of any other doc type from the patient itself, you can write under the on update method. Okay, so now we have created a patient. Now we'll generate a patient sample data. Basically, I had to collect the sample of the patient and I had to do some test on that sample. So, okay, we'll take this question after this session. Uh,
Yeah, so let's create some transactions first, and then we can venture into how we can create custom reports. So, Rohit, you can continue.
all right. So now I had to select the first patient, and on selection of patient, you can see a patient name has been automatically fetched from the master data. So to make this functionality, I just did some changes in the doc type. So in the patient sample itself, right? So we have a type called read only, and this read only helps to pull the data from the master. So in the patient master, we have a field called patient underscore name, and you can just see here in the toggle it's showing the patient underscore name. So I have used this name dot patient underscore name under the options, and when I select the patient, system automatically pull the patient name on the form. So with the help of read only, you can pull your master data on the form. Say sample name, let's say blood. Then I had to enter some test like hemoglobin,
CBC.
CBC, sugar. So patient come to my pathology lab and he said that I want to test this to I want to
Get
test
this two tests done.
on the blood. So I just entered the record and I had to submit. So I have created one record for patient sample. Now come to the patient report. Again, I had to choose patient, and now you can see I have pulled the mobile number and the email ID from the master. But but if you just keep the read only, then you cannot edit the record. But for mobile and email ID, I want to edit the record. So for that, I have not keep it as a read only. What I did is I use add fetch method. So to write, so basically add fetch method pulls the master data on the form. So you have to define the first field name, like from which field you have to render the data, you have to fetch the data. So name of this field first, then source field name. So let's go to the patient master, and you can see the name of this field is mobile. So I have to pull this data on my patient report mobiles field. So source field and the target field. So you have to define the target field in the last section, and in the middle section you have to define the source field. Similarly for email ID, I added patient as a field, then source email ID and the target email ID as a field. So this method pulls the data from the master and set on the current form. Okay. Query will take after section. All right. So now I have to do the functionality, like I have to fetch all the sample data of this patient on the report. So for that, I have to pull all this test data on my sample, where doctor will enter some data, like he will analyze some test. He will give some result on the data. So for that, I have to pull all this data from the patient sample, and for that I have written a code. So I show you. So before that, uh, I have added a button, and on this button I have written a function that to fetch the data from the patient sample and set on the patient report. So you have to go to the patient report.py file, and you just see here I have written a method called get sample test detail, and under that I have written a functionality. So basically I got this event by entering the name of the method under patient. If you just go to the patient report Doctype and go to the button field, you can see the get sample test detail under the option field. So you can enter the method name for the button from the option field itself. So you don't need to write a JS code for it. And you so you have to just enter the get sample test detail under the button. So when you click on the get sample test button, this method will get called. So let's see how it works. So I have to just enter the name. Let's say, and I have to enter the get sample test. So you can see I have pulled the data from the patient sample on the patient report with the help of this method. Now let's see how it works. So this child table has a name called text, and this name we have given under the doc type itself. So if you just see here, test table has the name test, So I have written a code. Self is a is a instance of the current class. So self dot set test as a blank dictionary. So it will remove all the rows from the tables and add. So basically, to remove all the rows, I have to use this method. So for example, if I remove this code and just run the method get sample test, you can see all the records has been removed. So basically, to remove the code, we need to write this code. To remove the rows, we need to write the code self.set child table name, comma, blank dictionary. Then I have written a code where I have took the data from the patient sample and append to the child table. So this is the query which you can call from the frappe.db.sql method. So frappe.db.sql is a default method which helps you to write a query, to run the query, and all this data we have rendered one by one and append to the child table. So to append the child, you need to write self.append child table name and the blank dictionary. Then you have to enter child dot column name equal to value. So if you just go to the child table, we have a column test sample ID sample name. So I have to pull all this data from the sample patient from the patient sample data. So I have used child dot test is equal to data dot test, then child dot sample ID equal to data dot name, and child dot sample name is equal to data dot sample underscore name. So this helps to pull the data from the sample patient sample table to the patient report table. And you can set the result after that. Save. Okay. So now you can see on the patient sample there is two column. One is test and the another one is result. So when I submit this record, I have to update the result in the respective patient sample data. So for that, I have written a code. On submit, I had to I had to get the value from the row and update the current status on the patient sample table. So if I reload, you can see the result on the patient sample form. So basically, on submit method, on submit events call when you submit the record. So we have these basic events like validate, on update, and on submit, which calls on the form.
Okay, so let's go for the next round of Q&A. We'll go by answering queries which is already posted in the chat section. So how to create a custom report for patient in your app. So Rohit, you want to show that afterwards? After Q&A session, you can
Okay.
just make a custom script report. And then setup is called before onload.
Yeah, basically setup is used to yeah, it's called before onload, and if you write all the cache data comes under the setup, so you don't need to define. I mean, some feature like if you want to define set query, get query, You can define under the setup. Oh no, you
Okay, so we also have Faris with us, and he will take this query. So just read out the question and then answer.
Okay, so how to use Angular JS with Frappe? So you can use any library like an Angular React. It works the same as any JS. So you just have to include the library file of Angular JS or any other library you want to use, and then
so you have to include your files under the hooks.py of your custom app.
build.json.
So you have to include your files under the app include.js file.
Okay, so is there another query?
Is there any show to show different field on link select? I mean, once you selected it, can you just brief your query?
So do you want an audit trial that what was the value selected in the link field earlier and if it was changed? So do you want an audit trial or something like that?
Actually, we keep the auto naming as blank, so system will generate the random ID. Can you share the code to add values? No.
Okay, you can actually have it in the auto suggest. So the this is the primary key for a doc type. So it will show PAT that auto numbered system generated series. But in the auto suggest, it will also show human readable values like Aditya or the other properties of that document. Maybe we can just show that. Uh, New. Okay, so here you see that you're seeing the primary key here, but you also see the patient name. So I hope that answers your query. And you can make this is configurable, so you can also have other values of the patient master being shown in the auto suggest result. I mean, what he's asking is probably can we hide this primary key completely in the show? So
No,
I'm sorry,
no,
but
no, you cannot hide the primary key.
this is not available for now.
No, this is not available.
Okay, so this is really cool.
Yeah, this is possible. Uh, You can have the name first and then primary. Uh, I mean, is it possible to have name first? Then I mean, you want a similar like employee? No, 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 not feasible. Okay, any generic query, guys?
ऑटो सजेस्ट का है ना ऑटो सजेस्ट की बात चल रही है
Android के employee को media tag, how to connect. Okay, can you share the code to add values in a form? So to, to add the values, as I said, you have a add fetch, or you can pull the data from the database and you can set it on the form. Can you share the code to add values in a form as a particular user? You can set the user permission from the user permission manager, let's say role user and the patient. You can add the patient. So this user can see the record of patient only.
can you please
Can you
explain your
elaborate?
query with an example or something maybe you can take the mic
Yeah.
you're free to take your mic and perhaps
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yeah
Okay, the problem is this one. I can code in Python and store the records as administrator. Okay. Now, if I want to use, let's say, post profile
Mm-hmm.
and set the record for a particular warehouse. So I need to impersonate a particular post profile and store the data. How is that possible?
So you have to fetch the data from the post profile.
no it is what he means actually that in post profile we save default for this specific user
Mhm.
But while
Yeah,
he's
right,
looking at some other user, he want to basically use default values of some other user and save the data.
right, right.
You have created pause profile for your ID,
Mhm.
but what I want that when I'm logged in with my ID, I want to use your pause profile.
So you have to give the permission to that post profile as well. I mean,
That's okay. That's okay. But in Python, can I use something like set user or something like that?
so basically, frappe.getAll is a method. So uh, we have a frappe.getAll. So you have to define the frappe.getAll, then post profile and the name of, the post profile ID. You have to pass the post profile ID. Yeah, you can put that post profile ID, and with the help of that, you get some data from the post profile.
Can you share the code or some?
Okay, I have to write the code. So,
Well, not me, not right now. You can post
it's good
later.
if you just put the question query on the discuss, you will get the answer from that as well.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, thanks.
Right.
If you have more queries, then please post your queries in the chat section.
I'm going to.
I
All
think we
right.
can do that.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll push it on the code. GitHub. Yeah.
and we'll also we're recording this session, so you can also expect a video this complete recording. Okay, tomorrow.
Yeah. By
By tomorrow, you
tomorrow.
can expect
The
code as
code
well as
is.
GitHub video.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the YouTube video.
All right. Thank you.
Not really. It's still our working hours. So thanks.
Right. Any other queries? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
If you have more queries, then please feel free to post it on the discuss forum. And I believe all of you are technical experts, so feel free to answer as well. And your feedback on this session will be highly appreciated. Thanks for attending. Thanks very much. Thanks, Abdul.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.